Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there. That was so just delicate the way you said it.
I am delicate.
Let's not get carried away with nonsense speaking.
I'm a delicate flower.
Oh, that seems weird and inappropriate.
Why?
Hey, we're the History Buffoons, and this is The Origin of Weird.
I'm Kate.
I'm Bradley.
The delicate one.
There's Delicate Flower Kate for your listening enjoyment.
Yes, Origin of Weird, where we try to find the origin
of weird. Feels a bit redundant at the moment.
So,
anywho,
I've got a story for you.
Okay.
I wonder if you might actually know it.
You had said there's a possibility that I could.
Potentially. Okay, so it all starts on one night in spring of 1968.
1968 in April, you said?
Spring.
Oh, you just said spring. I'm sorry. I don't know why my head went to April.
Do you know who Dennis Wilson is?
It sounds familiar.
He is the member of a band.
Yeah, the Beach Boys.
That's right. Good job. Yes, Dennis Wilson is the drummer of the Beach Boys.
Correct, because most people know Brian Wilson better because that's his brother who was like the mastermind of writing for the Beach Boys.
So Dennis Wilson, the drummer, was driving through LA when he picked up two young hitchhikers on Sunset Boulevard.
Okay. Popular road.
So the drummer, he's 23 at the time. He is already known as being a wild, free-spirited member of the Beach Boys, and he actually did give a lot of rides to strangers. So,
do you want me to guess? Or do you just want to keep going?
Yes, I'd like you to guess.
Is this where he meets Charlie Manson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that there's a song out there by Charlie Manson?
Yes.
Okay. he was infatuated with it, and they were just. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah. Do you want to do the story?
No.
Okay.
I don't have all the specific details that you may have.
I thought maybe you might know just because you're a music guy, but
yeah.
So he brought two women identified as Ella Jo Bailey and Patricia Krenwinkel back to his Pacific Palisades home for just kind of like a friendly hangout. And at Dennis's house that day, the vibe was pretty innocent. He had milk and cookies for the girls. They chatted about spirituality.
All right.
Dennis was into transcendental meditation and the teachings of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi at the time.
What was the first part?
I'm not going to try again.
Could you? It's not like Maharaja type.
Maharaji.
Maharaji.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So the young women were like, "Oh, we have a guru too. His name is Charlie." Yeah.
Charlie is not a guru.
Of course, they're talking about Charles Manson.
Yes.
Who is 33 at the time. He was an ex-convict, and he was an aspiring musician and labeled himself as a hippie guru.
Yep.
So Manson had spent half his life in jail and learned manipulation and charisma along the way.
Well, if you know anything about the background of him too, he had some help.
How did he get help?
Continue and we'll get into it. Okay. Maybe, depending on how long this is. That might be another discussion some other time.
So in 1968, he gathered kind of a makeshift family, mostly drifters, mostly women, and they saw him as kind of a mystic.
Yep.
So that night, Dennis left for a recording session, and the two girls returned to wherever they were staying.
Yep.
And in the early morning hours, a couple of days later, Dennis Wilson came home around 3 a.m. after a studio session.
Okay.
There were lights on in his house.
Interesting.
And there was a dilapidated school bus parked in his driveway. He's like, that ain't mine.
I don't know whose that is.
He had a Ferrari that he drove up. He stepped out of his Ferrari, and Dennis was approached by a slender, long-haired man
Yep.
with a scraggly beard.
Yep.
And Dennis asked the stranger, "Are you gonna hurt me?" And the man broke into like this big warm smile. He dropped to his knees and he kissed Dennis's feet.
That's weird.
He says, "Do I look like I'm going to hurt you, brother?"
Brother.
But he was being ushered back into his own house, and Dennis found kind of a hippie fever dream. There was a Beatles record on while a dozen young women, some topless, started mingling and giggling in the living room.
Okay.
And his two hitchhikers were there.
Yep.
Okay. Now they introduced Dennis to the man who had kissed his feet, Charlie, their saintly guru.
Jesus Christ.
Within minutes of meeting Manson, it was like Manson owned the place.
Right.
Dennis, although startled by his actions, didn't object to Charlie kind of making his way through the house.
Sure.
In 1960s, it was a time of like spontaneous friendships and exploration, things like that. And Charles,
peace and love.
Yeah, exactly. And Charles Manson exuded like this charisma,
Yep.
that Dennis found compelling,
intoxicating.
Yeah. So, once Charles Manson entered into Dennis Wilson's world, he and his family basically showed no signs of leaving. Dennis let them move right in and make themselves at home.
Oh.
And throughout the summer of 1968, Manson and a dozen of his devotees essentially camped out in Wilson's mansion.
That's crazy.
They parked their dilapidated bus outside and draped scarves and tapestries over lamps and filled the rooms with incense, smoke, and guitar music.
Oh, Lord.
At first, Dennis Wilson really didn't mind. He actually really enjoyed it.
I'm sure.
He was the thrill seeker of the band, so he was always up for a good time, and new house guests, provided plenty of that.
Right.
So his home was filled of energy and laughter and willing young women.
Mm-hmm.
So Charles Manson arrived with this entourage of women who adored him and wanted to please Dennis as well.
Sure.
Mike Love, who is Dennis's cousin and fellow bandmate, later said Dennis was enthralled by him. Not least because Charlie Manson came with this group of girls devoted to him.
Right.
So Manson essentially like pimped out his girls.
Oh, of course.
To integrate himself with Dennis.
Yep.
And as Beach Boy Mike Love said, he said, Dennis became the perfect mark, a famous, well-connected entertainer who had something Manson wanted,
right?
A music industry access.
Yep.
And in turn, Manson had something Dennis wanted, a stable of young women who catered to his every desire.
Right.
So this mansion transformed into like a nonstop party.
Sure.
There were nude love-ins in the swimming pool, late night jam sessions, and an ever-flowing supply of drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Dennis affectionately called Manson the Wizard.
Oh, jeez.
Believing that Charlie had deep spiritual insights.
Okay.
So for a while, the agreement felt mutually beneficial.
Yeah, of course.
Dennis had no shortage of companionship. At one point, he was living with 17 women.
Jesus Christ.
And Manson, in turn, enjoyed the perks of the rock star life.
Right.
So by day, the cult leader would prophonicate about God and the devil and strum his guitar and write music, while his followers raided Dennis's closets and kitchen and basically made the whole mansion.
Everything, yeah.
Oh, yeah. At night, they tripped on LSD and they danced in the moonlight. Group sex was a regular occurrence. LSD-fueled orgies became routine. And an outbreak of gonorrhea went through the house.
I'm surprised that's all that went through the house.
Yeah, of course, Dennis footed the bill for all of the penicillin shots.
Jesus Christ.
So the other Beach Boy bandmates kind of looked on in disbelief at this bizarre situation.
Yeah, like, what the fuck's going on over here?
Yeah. Mike Love remembered visiting Dennis during that summer and finding the scene just incredibly weird. He said one evening, Dennis invited Mike and fellow Beach Boy Bruce Johnston over to meet Manson and the family.
Right.
And the guests arrived to find an unsettling dinner party already happening.
Okay.
Love said, Bruce and I were the only people at dinner who had clothing on.
I figured that was where that was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after a meal with these nude women, like serving the food, Manson dimmed the lights, switched on a strobe lamp, and invited everyone to take LSD.
Yeah.
So Mike Love declined the acid.
Sure.
He excused himself to the bathroom.
Okay.
Charles Manson suddenly opened the bathroom door, while Mike was showering.
Oh, he went in to go take a shower?
Apparently.
Weird.
Yep. And Charles Manson walked into the bathroom while he's being showered and basically stares at Mike Love.
Okay. That's kind of creepy.
And he says, "You can't leave the group."
Why did he think he was going to leave?
Probably because he was feeling uneasy already.
Sure.
So Love basically described like how intense Manson's gaze was and just how terrifying he seemed.
Right.
So Manson was essentially warning him that once you're in Charlie's world, you don't just walk away. Of course, Mike Love got out of there as fast as possible.
I'm not surprised. I mean, especially if this creepy fuck is coming in walking in on me in my impromptu shower.
Yeah.
I mean,
in my bandmate's house.
Which, okay, that would make sense, but there's all these people here. Why would you choose to take a shower at your bandmate's your cousin's house?
I mean, out of everything in the story, that seems the most odd.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you know how many people have naked, topless, or whatever dinner parties? I mean, come on. They're old hat.
So Dennis remained under Charlie's spell. He genuinely believed that Manson had talent and wisdom worth sharing. So he brought Manson to the elite Hollywood parties at his home, letting Charlie and the girls perform for his famous friends.
Okay.
Music industry figures like producer Terry Melcher, who is son of Doris Day.
Yep.
And songwriter Greg Jacobson.
I don't know if I know who that is.
They were introduced to Manson during these gatherings. And to them, Dennis raved about Charlie's songwriting and cosmic philosophy, calling him magical.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
For Dennis, who had always embraced the California counterculture, meeting Manson felt like tapping into like a progressive side of the 60s scene.
Sure, makes sense.
So the Beach Boys had just launched their own record label, Brother Records.
Okay.
And Dennis even floated the idea of having Manson be one of their new artists.
Oh, boy.
Dennis did gush that Manson sings, plays, writes poetry, and would be a great artist for Brothers Records.
I don't know about that.
Manson told over his followers. They pretty much obeyed his every word.
Right.
And his temper sometimes flashed.
Of course.
Through his little peace and love facade.
Of course.
So some of Dennis's entertainment industry friends found Charlie more creepy than charismatic.
Yeah.
And just thought he was a little seedy. Because
he was.
Yeah. Over time, even Dennis began to feel a strange power shift in his home.
Okay.
One day he realized that the family had essentially taken over the mansion.
Right.
They slept in his master bed while he ended up crashing on the couch.
What?
on his own property.
Kick him the fuck out, man. It's your place.
Yeah, Dennis.
I don't care what kind of weird magical power Charlie had over you. It's your bad, dude.
Yeah, Dennis felt he no longer was in control.
Clearly.
So, all the while, Charles Manson never lost sight of his big ambition, which was a career in music.
Okay.
And living with Dennis Wilson was like the perfect springboard. With the Beach Boys as his new quote-unquote friends, Manson imagined that it was only a matter of time before he got a record deal and fame as a singer-songwriter.
Right.
And Dennis encouraged his dream.
Of course. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. So he found something in Manson's music, raw songs inspired by Charlie's obsession and the tension he observed around him.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote the song Cease to Exist.
Okay.
Okay. By mid-1968, Dennis arranged a chance for Manson to record some demo tracks.
Mm-hmm.
He invited Charlie to use Brian Wilson's state-of-the-art home studio in Bel Air,
Sure.
which is Dennis's brother,
Yep.
and even brought in professional engineers and producers to witness Manson's potential.
Okay.
So this was the moment that Charlie was waiting for.
Yeah, this is his time to shine, basically.
Of course, it did not go well.
No, because he's not that good.
Or is he a good guy?
Well, it has not. You know how many shitty people make good music?
Yeah.
A lot. So
things started off on the wrong foot when Manson showed up at Brian Wilson's house with a few of his female friends in tow.
of course.
While Manson tuned his guitar, the women of his family helped themselves to Brian's swimming pool, stripping naked and splashing around in full view of Brian's wife, Marilyn, who was not amused.
I'm sure she wasn't.
Once in the studio, Manson proved to be fairly uncooperative.
Oh, Jesus.
He had no experience in proper studio recording and responded poorly to any guidance.
Of course. Why would he have any experience with that?
Yeah.
This is literally the first time he's doing it. And he wants to run the show, even though he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Beach Boys' chief audio engineer, Stephen Desper, recalled that Charlie was not going to be reproduced. Reproduced or just produced? Oh, produce.
oh, my word.
Produce. He was not going to be produced.
There you go.
He refused to take direction or do multiple takes. He had no idea what recording sessions were about, how to make records, and he was not a professional artist. And producers tried to tweak Manson's songs.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Charlie was not going to have that. He became frustrated and paranoid
Oh, dear.
that his artistry was being messed with.
No, it was being fixed.
At one point, he reportedly pulled out a long switchblade.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Obviously, that made everybody extremely uneasy.
Yep.
And the engineer Desper whispered to his colleague saying, "This guy is psychotic."
Yep. If only everyone would have listened to him. Seriously.
So after multiple hours, Manson's big break collapsed. He got into a heated argument with the studio team.
Oh, geez.
And ultimately stormed out of Brian Wilson's home in a fit of anger, leaving his recordings unfinished.
Was Dennis there as well for this session, or was he just there with Brian and the other people?
I actually didn't read if he was
Okay.
there or not.
I was curious because he clearly is the one that vouched for him
Right.
up and down because he was kind of like, in a transfixed, whatever you want to say, with Charlie. That's what happens when someone keeps feeding you LSD.
Yeah.
Hence the reason of my comment before, because he didn't just magically just go buy LSD. He was supplied it.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard any of the weird fucking theories about the CIA and Charlie Manson and all that shit. So there's some weird theories that are ultimately pretty true.
Maybe a story for a future episode.
Maybe.
But even if Dennis Wilson wasn't a part of it, he did know that
how bad it
what
went.
happened.
Yeah.
And he was disappointed, but he didn't want to give up on this potential protege.
Okay.
So Dennis took a different approach to get Manson's music out. He decided the Beach Boys themselves would rework one of Manson's songs without explicitly crediting Charlie.
That seems like a bad idea for someone so unstable.
Mm-hmm.
But
the song was Manson's folk ballad Cease to Exist.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Wilson loved the song's melody, and the Beach Boys ended up recording the track in September of 1968,
Mm-hmm.
but with significant changes.
Right.
Dennis altered some of Manson's lyrics and polished the arrangement.
Sure.
The band released it under a new title, Never Learn Not to Love.
Yep.
It was a single in December of 1968. Crucially, Dennis Wilson took sole credit on the songwriting,
Mm-hmm.
and Charles Manson's name appeared nowhere on the record.
Yeah, exactly.
So at first, Manson was flattered that his creation was being performed by the Beach Boys.
Sure.
But then he realized how much changes happened with the song.
He got kind of pissed.
And he got mad.
Yeah.
He didn't mind gifting a song to Dennis, but he wanted his name on that song.
Because he wanted the credit for it.
He wanted
That's
the credit
all he
for
wanted.
it.
He didn't want to actually produce good music. He wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
So that was deep betrayal in Charlie's eyes. And his friendly guru facade was fading at this point.
Sure.
And Manson was seething. So by the end of 1968, Dennis Wilson the Dennis Wilson Manson connection was starting to spin out of control.
It's crumbling.
Yeah. So financially, Dennis was being bled dry.
Yep.
The Manson family had no jobs, no income, and had been living entirely off of Dennis's wealth.
Yep.
They racked up huge bills on his credit card, wrecked his cars, and stole property.
Oh, Jesus.
So Dennis would later estimate that Manson and his crew cost him about $100,000, which would be about $750,000 today.
Yeah, no kidding.
They totaled Dennis's Ferrari.
Oh, Jesus.
Crashed his Mercedes-Benz. At one point, Dennis received a $1,200 bill from the local dairy for milk and cream deliveries. Approximately $9,000 worth today, run up by Manson's family.
Wow.
I
That's
know.
a lot
Very
of milk
strange.
and cream.
Yeah.
The hell?
They raided his refrigerator daily. He paid doctor's bills like the penicillin shots once we all got gonorrhea. The family helped themselves to his clothes, his jewelry, his toiletries, his bed linens. Manson literally cut up Dennis's silk bed sheets to fashion a faux royal robe and Harlem pants for himself.
What are Harlem pants?
I think they're similar to like MC Hammer pants.
Oh, nice. Parachute pants?
Yeah.
Nice.
So, how lovely. Dennis Wilson paid a psychological price for letting Manson into his world as well.
Yeah.
As the family's excesses mounted, Dennis's initial enthusiasm was starting to grow into more stress and fear.
Right.
And he started to grasp that he didn't want people to take advantage of him.
Which is about fucking time he comes to that realization.
Exactly. So Manson's act was wearing thin, and Dennis began confiding in his friends that he was worried about what Charlie might do next.
Okay.
So by late summer, the drummer was desperate to disentangle himself.
Mm-hmm.
He went to his friend Greg, Greg Jacobson?
Is that what his name was? Oh, shoot.
Yes. He says, Greg, can you get me out of here?
Jesus Christ.
Dennis Wilson once boasted that he'd never give up the fast life, but now literally he was looking to escape his own house.
Yeah, no kidding.
So the breaking point came at the very end of 68 into 69.
Okay.
Dennis Wilson finally decided he needed to sever ties with Charles Manson.
Jesus.
Dennis knew that Charlie would be vicious and unstable, and that the drummer was frankly afraid to confront him directly.
Yeah, because he'd be psychotic.
So he fled his own home.
Jesus Christ.
With the help of Greg Jacobson, he quietly hired movers to pack up his belongings, and he moved out without telling Mason.
Manson. Yeah.
So Dennis abandoned his house, leaving Manson and the family squatting there as unwanted tenants, and he moved to a secret location.
Jesus.
He left the lease with the landlord and said, "You deal with it." And by the end of 1968, Dennis Wilson had effectively ghosted Charles Manson.
Right.
Of course, Manson was, "Nope, that's betrayal. I'm furious."
Yeah, it was a spark in a lot of the things that went wrong.
Yeah. So shortly after Dennis disappeared, the Beach Boys released Never Learn Not to Love.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing his music on the radio with lyrics changed and no credit given, he said that was the final insult.
Yep.
He seized that his supposed friend sold him out.
Well, I mean, aren't you a supposed friend?
Yeah.
Because you're literally just milking them dry for everything. You're not contributing anything. You're just taking.
Yep.
That's not what a friend does.
Nope.
So, okay, dick.
One day in late 1968, Dennis Wilson received an unwelcome present. It was a single bullet cartridge delivered to him with an accompanying message saying, quote, "I know where you live. I know where your children are," end quote.
Did he have children?
Yeah, he actually had 3 wives, and one of his wives he married twice. So he had
Dennis
4.
Wilson married his wife twice?
Yeah, so they divorced.
I get how it works.
And then they remarried.
I got that. Thank you for that explanation.
And I think they had like 4 or 5 children between his spouses.
He was 23 at this time.
Eventually.
Oh, eventually he did?
Eventually he had that many.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought this was already. I see. Okay.
So Dennis, rightfully so, was terrified. Years later, Manson himself said, "I gave Dennis a bullet because he changed the words to my song." So, for fuck's sake.
Jesus.
Isn't that just crazy?
I mean, yeah, that's a polite way to put it.
Yes. Musician Van Dyke Parks, a friend of Dennis's, alleged that he witnessed Dennis viciously assault Charlie Manson, beating him until the cult leader fell to the floor weeping. But we're not sure if that was true or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Why would you said that was Dennis's friend?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he make that shit up, I guess?
Or flourished it? I don't know.
Or even say it if he's Dennis's friend.
I would assume it's real, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows? Okay.
Dennis Wilson had cut off all contact with Manson, and he wanted to put everything behind him. He was done with the wizard, and he never really spoke about
his time
with him. At least in interviews, he never spoke about it.
Sure.
So Charles Manson was now out of his life, retreated with his family to an old movie set in the California desert called Spawn Ranch.
Spawn Movie Ranch.
And in the spring of 1969, Manson grew a little bit more twisted.
Mm-hmm.
He stewed over his failed musical aspirations and nursed a growing hatred for the Hollywood elite who had brushed him off.
Yep.
In particular, producer Terry Melcher.
Yep.
And Manson had tried for months to impress Melcher and secure a recording contract.
Right.
Melcher did briefly consider working with him, but ultimately concluded that Manson wasn't talented enough.
Right.
Of course, his rejection infuriated Manson.
And, well,
Yeah. So, of course...
We know what happens.
Of course, then Dennis Melcher becomes a target.
Yeah. Terry Melcher.
What'd I say?
Dennis Melcher.
Sorry. Yes. Terry Melcher. So he started Helter Skelter. Manson knew of a certain house in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
10050 Cielo Drive in Benedict Canyon, where Terry Melcher had been living.
Before.
He had been living there while Manson was trying to work with him.
No, I know.
So in early 1969, Melcher moved out of that house.
That's why I said before. Mm-hmm.
And then it was rented to film director Roman Polanski and his wife, actress Sharon Tate.
Yep.
Manson didn't care.
Nope.
On the night of August 8th, 1969, remembering the address, he sent a group of his most obedient followers to invade the home and kill everyone on the premises.
Yep.
We all kind of know what happened, so I'm not really going to go into that. But one of the killers was Patricia Krenwinkel, which was one of the 2 hitchhikers that Dennis Wilson had picked up just a year prior.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Of course, the news of the murders made Dennis Wilson horrified.
Yep. He
realized how narrowly he had escaped entanglement in Manson's madness.
Yep.
The aftermath, Dennis reportedly feared for his own life, wondering if Manson might target him.
Sure.
Other Beach Boys were stunned at this like guru that Dennis had at his dinner table that they all met.
Mm-hmm.
For Dennis, it felt deeply personal.
Right. I can imagine. He like embraced him for quite a long time, really.
Mike Love believes that Dennis carried a burden of guilt for the rest of his life. And Mike Love actually noticed a massive change in Dennis after 1969.
Okay.
The drummer never quite recovered from the psychological fallout of his encounter with Manson.
Yeah.
He became more erratic, drowning his trauma in drugs and alcohol all through the 1970s.
Sure.
Dennis Wilson, like I said, publicly never spoke about Charles Manson. One journalist in 1976 did bring up the topic, and Dennis cut him off and said, "No, never. Not as long as I live. I'll never talk about that."
Wow.
And he did keep that vow.
Sure.
So it had been way too disturbing, shameful, painful to visit. He tried to focus on his music and his personal life. Friends say that Dennis was paranoid that Manson would somehow get to him. And he said that for a time, Dennis slept with a gun under his pillow.
Jeez.
Charles Manson was arrested and in 1971 convicted on 7 counts of first-degree murder.
Yep.
He would spend the rest of his days behind bars, ultimately dying in prison at the age of 83 in 2017.
Which is wild that he made it that long,
far,
honestly.
Yeah. So Dennis Wilson, it kind of slowly unraveled.
Mm-hmm.
He had heavy drinking, drug abuse, and lingering psychological scars.
Yep.
On December 28th, 1983, Dennis drowned while diving off of a friend's boat.
Oh, dear.
And in Marina del Rey, Los Angeles. And he was full of alcohol.
Sure.
He was 39 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, Dennis went to his grave having never publicly revealed the story of his time with Manson.
Right.
But those closely understood how deeply it did affect him.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So looking back on it, Dennis's father, Murray Wilson, offered a simple, sorrowful piece of wisdom. He said, quote, "I told my sons a long time ago, be careful who you choose as your friends," end quote.
Yeah. I mean, that's words to live by, really.
And that's the story of Dennis Wilson and his connection with Charles Manson.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I knew about the connection to the Beach Boys. I didn't know that part of that Dennis Wilson got so close to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely knew about the connection with the Beach Boys and the recordings and so on and whatever. And that's really, I don't want to say it's what created what happened to Sharon Tate. And there was Roman Polanski was in Europe filming, so it was Sharon Tate, and who was the other? Wasn't there 2 other people?
There was the La Biancas.
That's it.
And I don't know if they were in the same house or a next door house.
That was a different house.
Yeah, it was
yeah. Not the same scenario, but anyways, I think there was a couple people in the Sharon Tate house, and obviously she was pregnant too. So
yeah, she was 8 months pregnant. I think.
She was pretty pregnant.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, he was shunned by that world that he wanted to be in so bad, and well, his true nature came out and went psycho.
Yeah,
fucking psychopath.
Well,
I suppose. All right, buffoons, that's it for today's episode.
Buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.